This video is part of a series. Complete the previous videos in this playlist before you start this video. The complete playlist information, the material and the code file information is given in the video description below.
Now we are going to discuss several functions which are assorted within Python from various topics. We're going to discuss about date functions, string format, how do you format print, how do you handle the dates, how do you handle date time. And we're also going to see a little bit of basics of object-oriented programming, OOPS concept. They are known as object-oriented programming. We're also going to discuss about some of the advanced functions like map and filter. We will also see what are regex functions, how can we use regular expressions within Python. So this is not about a particular package. In general, we are talking about multiple topics within this section, multiple assorted topics, which are pretty useful, maybe a little advanced, but it will be useful in some places. Let us get into these topics. First, let us import the packages. We need pandas package, we need datetime package. I'm suppressing all the warnings because later on we may see some warnings, and I'm not interested in looking at the warnings. Errors should be fine when we are debugging it. And we are also going to look at several data sets that will be used in this particular topic. So I'll be importing all the relevant data sets. We may not be using all of them, but let us import all these data sets. All of them are there on this GitHub server. We'll be able to import all of them. So let us import all these data sets. We will start with the first data set, CC usage data. Okay. Credit card usage data, all of us are already familiar with it. If you want to have a look at that data set, you can maybe let's print a sample of this data, maybe 5 records. Let's print the 5 sample records. Credit card usage data, you must be familiar with it. Already we have used it multiple places. Client number, attrition flag, customer age, gender, dependent count, education level, marital status, income category, card category. Yes, we have already used it at multiple places. Otherwise, you can go through it completely. It is not that hard a data set to understand. The variable names are pretty much self-explanatory. For example, if I want to know the average customer age, what will be the code that we will write? We will write the dataset name, which is CC usage, and the column name, which is average customer age dot mean. Mean is a method that we have to write it like that. And I want to store it in, let's say, average underscore age. So average age of the customer is this much. And if you generally want to print it, so print average age. Now, generally, when you're printing like this, it just prints the value. Instead of printing that value, what if I want to print elegantly with a message? Print the average age of the customer, or the average age is, and then comma, whatever is the average age. Now, that's the procedure that we have followed until now. The average age is, now whatever message that you want to print, you will write it here and it will print. But we can use a function called format within print. You can use a function called format, and in standard coding practices, we use that function called format very regularly. Let us understand the nitty-gritties of format here. So you can write the same message, print the average age is. Then instead of average age writing it here, you can use parentheses here. Parentheses, curly braces, open and close. And these curly braces are important and they will be very, very useful later on. Dot format, and whatever you want to print here in these curly braces, that variable can be mentioned here. So I want to print average age. So the way you write it is, you write the string dot format. In that string, you are mentioning that curly braces. It's a placeholder. Then you say dot format, and whatever you want to mention here, you just mention that average age. Then it will be printing the same message like this. Though it is printing the same message, but this one, the way we wrote it here, this is very useful. Later on, you can not only print one particular variable, you can print several variables later on. For example, apart from average age, I also want to calculate average credit limit, and I want to print that as well. So average credit limit, average credit limit, and then CC usage data, and credit limit is the variable name, dot mean average credit limit. Here you go. Here is the average credit limit. Now, how do I print it? Follow the same structure. You write down whatever you want to mention, average age is this much. And look at this. Earlier we have to write a print this, and then your again the quotes will start again. You write it one by one. We have to carefully do that. But here you can write it like a simple message. Average age is whatever is that curly braces. You can leave it there, and the average credit limit is again curly braces. And then dot format. Yes, I want to print average age here, comma. Within the format, you have to write the first variable, comma, inside the parenthesis, comma, average credit limit. You have to write it like this. And here is the final message. The average age is this much, average credit limit is this much. Now, I know that you're not really satisfied with this output because there are too many decimals after this particular decimal point. There are too many numbers. We can format that as well. Within this format, there is a much better, elegant way of formatting it. But here, I'm trying to tell you, you can use this parenthesis dot format to print multiple values or your message. In fact, when you're looking at some of the standard code in internet, you may find this type of print being used. If you're not aware of this format, it looks pretty strange when you're looking at it for the first time. If you're not aware of this particular function format, you may be thinking what exactly it is trying to tell us, but it's very simple after knowing it. In fact, there is one more way of formatting. What is it? You can use, like, sometimes you tend to see this kind of thing. Print F, instead of format completely, we write F. Okay. And then within the quotes, you can write the average age. You just need to write F within the quotes, the average age. In the curly braces, you can directly mention, if you feel this is not that friendly to read, if you want to be absolutely sure, in that you can write average age. In that you can write credit limit. Earlier, if you are using single print function, you have to write a message, comma, and then the variable, comma, message, comma, like that. You have to write it multiple times. But if you use F and within them, you can, like I have seen, some of the people are finding this much more user friendly, because wherever you want to print and whichever variable you want to print, you can actually see that. So you can actually read it. The average age is average age, and the average credit limit is average credit limit that I want to print. Okay. So this is the format. Pause the video here and try to execute all these commands before you move on to the next command. Let us see one more example. This time we will try to use a different feature of this format. What we will do is we will calculate the average dependence as well. This is the average dependence count. So we have average age, average credit limit, and average dependence. What if by mistake we put a different order? Let's say I want to print the average age, average credit limit, and instead of and average age is this much, the average credit limit is this much, maybe a comma after this, and then and average dependence, average dependence is another parenthesis. Now average age, average credit limit, let's say by mistake I have kept average dependence count here, average dependence, average age, and then average credit limit. If I try to print this, obviously the answer will be wrong. Average age is 2.34. No, it is actually dependence. Average credit limit is 46. Actually, that is average age. Average dependence count is 8361. So we have actually mentioned them in the wrong order here. But still, there is a way to fix it. How can you fix it? Let this order be as it is. No problem. What we can do is, in these parentheses, we can mention the index 0, 1, 2. So age is at which position? Age is at the first position. First position means like 0, 1, 2. Credit limit is at the index 2. Dependent count is at index 0. Now, when you print this time you'll get the right answer. Average age is 46, average credit limit is this much, and average dependence count is 2.34. Not only these values, even directly, if values are given there, let's say instead of the actual variables, if you have the values given like this, 2.34, 83, 8631, 46, if these are the values and average age is not 2.34, in this case also you can work the same way. In the sense, you can mention my average age is in the index 2, my dependent count, average age in index 2, credit limit is index 1, and the dependent count is index 0. Now here is the answer: average age, average credit limit, and the dependent count. So you can use these placeholders, their indices. Not only indices, you can use placeholders with names also. Let's say if you're not comfortable with these index values, if you want to give them some names, that is also fine. Let's say if I take the same example, and here this time I want to call this with a name 2.3 2.34, it is the dependents. Okay, dependents count. I want to, or let me just name it as depend. That is the first placeholder name. The second placeholder, the one that I want to print, this is the credit limit, C limit. And then the third one is age, okay, average age. Now, if you print it, while printing it, you can use an option average age. I have mentioned the placeholder name as age, so you can mention age. And the credit limit is C limit. That's what we have mentioned. Average dependence count is depend. Now, this will also print accurately average age, average credit limit, average dependence count. So you can print in multiple ways. The reason why we are discussing this here is there are some places when you are looking at the code samples, when you are looking at some of the documentations, this particular format of print is used, especially within print. If you have so many items to be printed, if you have so many values to be printed, if you want to format them in a particular manner, then this is the best function that you can use, which is format function. And obviously, we are not interested in printing such large numbers. There is one more item that is pending, age. You want to print it maybe until one decimal only. Average age, you want to print it until one decimal. So what you can do is you can put this symbol, which is colon 0.1f. That means it will be printed in this format until one decimal. After the decimal point, you will be printing one decimal. Okay, 0.1f. Credit limit also maybe 0. If I put 0.1f, it means it is going to print until one decimal point. After the decimal point, it will print one digit. But credit limit, I'm not interested in printing it that way. I want to simply print it as 0.0f. That means I want to print an integer. Okay, credit limit will be printed as an integer. After the credit limit, you have to put a colon. So 0.0 means it will be printed as integer. After the decimal points, 0 digits will be printed. Even the dependence count, maybe I want to print it until one decimal. In that case, you put again a colon 0.1f. That means until one digit. After a decimal point, there will be one digit that will be printed. So your output, you can expect it to be somewhat like 46.3 because one digit here, and 8631 because 0 digits after that, and 2.3 because one digit. That's what we have mentioned. So here is the output that you can see. 46.3. Let's say here also, if I want to print two digits, I'll put two digits after the decimal point. Here are the two digits. Average dependence count, you want to mention only 0 digits. You want to print the integer value, and this is how you'll print it. Not only this, let's say if you do not have these numbers in this one also, let's say if you're not giving any names, let me put it here. If you're not giving any names, if you're directly working with the positions, the way that we have seen here, the average age is in the second position. Even if you're mentioning like this without the actual name, you can use the same format or the same structure of the code. Second index, this is the value placeholder name. This is the placeholder index. Second index must be printed in this format, and the value of the first index position 1 should be printed in this format, colon should be given, and then this must be printed in this format. Okay, so you have to give. Now this 0 indicates whatever is the index, and this is related to formatting, and it will work the same way that is shown above. So that is how you can customize the output. Sometimes you may have to show percentage value in the output. For example, we have a variable called average utilization ratio, which is a percentage. Utilization ratio is a percentage value. Let us calculate that. Let's say average utilization, average utilization ratio or percent. How do you print a percentage symbol in the output? Because when you're calculating, the percentage value will not be appearing. It will be a decimal value that will appear. So go to cc underscore usage data. In the cc usage data, what's that? In the cc usage data, you have which variable? Average utilization ratio dot mean. Here you go. This is the average utilization percentage. Now, if you print it directly, how much that will appear as? This is the one. Now, what we want to do is we want to print it like a percentage value. So as usual, what we will do is print whatever is the message that you want to write, the average the average utilization ratio is, and then you give the brackets, just keep the brackets, parenthesis close starting, and then as usual dot f, which is format, dot format, and what do you want to print? Average utilization percent. This is the initial code that should be printing the average utilization percent. So the average utilization ratio is this much, dot format. Where is the error? Print the format until here. I think we are closing the print here, which should not be done. This is the output. And for format, after that, one more parenthesis. This is the one. The average utilization ratio is this much. Now that must be printed as a percentage. Let's say if you want to print it until two decimals, what will be the option? If you want to print it until two decimals, you have to put colon 0.2 f, which means until two decimals it will be printed. But what if I want to print it like a percentage? Then in that case, instead of f, you put 0.2%. You have to give a percent symbol. If you give the percent symbol, it will be coming as 27.49%. Or if you want to print it until one decimal, it will be like this. 27.5% or after this one. So it is printed in the percentage. This one, let's say until four decimal, if you try to print, then you will get the actual number 27.49%. That's how you can print the values. Let us do one quick exercise before we move on to the next topic. So we have seen how do you print using format function, using these parentheses. We can reorder the variables, we can use placeholders with the names, we can customize how many decimals it has to be printed, we can print as a percentage as well, and percentage value also can be formatted. Now it's time for us to do a quick lab exercise, string format for custom variables. So take the New York taxi fare data. We have already imported this data set. Where is that? New York taxi fare data. Take the data set, print the below message using string format. The average taxi fare amount must appear exactly in this manner, and dollar should also appear, and dollar should not be actually coded. It should be coming automatically. Somehow the currency should appear, and the median number of passengers per trip are these many, or the median means average only. If you're not aware of median, you simply take the average number of passengers are x. It has to be an integer. So try to print it in this manner, and try different placeholders, try different methods. Maybe at least try three ways of printing: using index placeholder, using placeholder name, using reorder. Try to use two three different types of printing the same value. The percentage of trips, this is another message. The percentage of trips with fare amount is greater than $50 is this many. First of all, you have to calculate these, how many percentage of trips with fare amount is greater than $50, how many are there? And you have to print it in this manner. Try to use two or three different ways of printing the same one. Okay. So try to do this quick lab exercise. Apart from this, there are other assignments as well that you're going to get, but these are the ones that will quickly kind of recap before we move on to the next topic, which is working with dates. So that completes our part one in this particular session. Let us now start working with dates. Let's add another title, working with dates. When you're working in any programming language, we must know how to work with dates, because dates are special data types that may occur in some data sets, and handling those dates is not same as handling other variables like strings and numerical values. In this example, we'll be working with KC house data, King County house price data. We have already imported this data set, so directly I'll go there and I'll try to just show you what is a sample of the data. First, get an idea on these data set. Let me print a sample of 5 records. This is the house price data. This is the day that the house has been sold. Obviously, this date is not in the actual date time format. It is some kind of date followed by T followed by several zeros format, some format which is actually right now string format. The price of the house, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, what is the area of the house, whether there is any waterfront, etc., etc. All these variables are there. So the variable that I'm interested right now is the date variable. Now, what I want to do is right now it's not in this format. The format that I'm expecting it to have is date format, but unfortunately it is in the string object format. So if you look at the info, the date variable will be in the object format, which is the string object. It is in the string format. I do not want it to be in string format. So what I want to do is first I want to first of all extract only the first 8 characters which are representing the values related to date. So let us first extract those values, first 8 characters. Let me increase the font. Yeah. So let's extract those values. How do you do that? Go to the King County house price data, KC house price. It should give us the prompt. Yes, it is giving. And I want to override the original variable itself, date variable, and original date variable. I would like to take that and overwrite it, so that equal to, this is the data set that I would like to take. The dot apply lambda 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 x. Now within x, what I want to consider, the function that I want to consider is, I would like to take from each row, I would like to take 0 to 8, 0 to 8, starting from 0 to 8. 8 means automatically 0 to 7 will be considered. First 7 will be considered. In fact, we can have a look at it after taking that information. Let's have a look at the data that is created. Now this is the one. It is still string object only. It is still string object. In fact, there are multiple ways of doing it. You can find out where there is t. You can split the data based on t, and you can take the numbers before whatever is the value t. Okay, you can do that as well. But here it is simple. You can actually take the first 8 characters. Now what I want to do is, I want to convert this string. This is a string right now. I want to convert the string into date format. What is date format? Here, I want to identify these first 4 characters as year. I want to identify the next 2 characters as month, next 2 characters as date. How do you convert strings to dates? You can use a function called strp time. There are two functions, strf time, strp time. strp time is used for converting strings to dates. How do you convert strings to dates using strp time? For first of all, you need to have this package called datetime. So from a datetime package, import another sub package called datetime. You need to have that datetime sub package. Okay. Now you're ready to use that datetime. So let me give you a simple example. So let us take a date in string format. Okay, the date in string format. String means something that is in quotes. Date in string format 2022, 12, and 29. This is the date in string format. Now, if I want to convert into a particular date format, the date format that I want is, let's say, percentage y. So now these are standard formats. I'll show you some of the standard formats later on. Percentage capital Y means 4 values of the year. Percentage lowercase m, percentage D. Now there is a meaning for all these. There is a particular meaning. What does percentage uppercase Y mean? What does percentage lowercase m mean? What does percentage lowercase d mean? There's a meaning for that. So this is the date format that I want. So the final date that I want to print is my final date equal to, take the date time function datetime dot strp time. So what is the date string? Write down the date string, and then what is the format that you want? You can directly mention this, or you can mention the format that you wanted. Or to keep the thing simple, I can directly mention this, because most of the times you will see this being used. Now this is the date that you can print finally. Let's print this date. Here you go, the output. So in the output, we can see that uppercase Y means 4 letters of the year, and percentage small m means 2 digit value of the month. Percentage small d, lowercase d, means 2 digits of the date. Actually, sometimes you can print the month in a 3-letter format like DGC, December, J and Jan, JU and June, something like that. Or you can print the complete name of the month. You can also print lowercase y. Let's say, let us experiment with this. Let's say if you want to print a short year, and that is also possible. Percentage of short year. 2022, 12, 29 did not match. Actually, we have given a longer year. Let's give 22. So the input that I'm giving is 22. Then what I can give is, I can expect this to have this format. Yes, I have given in this. This is a string. Please convert it into format. So this string has been converted to this format of the date. So we are trying to tell that in this string, this is the format that the year has been given. So here, if it is 2022, then it will become uppercase Y. So the format that we have given the year is in this format. The format that we have given the month is in this format. The format that we have given the date is in this format. So then Python will get the knowledge to read that particular string and convert it into date time format. Now what you see here, this object is in date time format. We try to apply the same logic on our date. Right now the date is a complete string. Now we will write KC house price data, date maybe formatted or date cleaned. That is equal to, I will take the date variable, okay, and then what I'll do is, or we can override the original variable, or we can put that part of the string where the first 8 letters are there in a different variable. That is also fine, okay. So what we will try to do is we will take that variable and then we will try to say dot apply lambda lambda. That means I want to go to every row x, and then I have to write the same code, date time strp time apply lambda x, and then you use the same function, date time strp time. Yes, and the input that I want to give is x, and which format my input is in. It is having 2022, or it is having year followed by month followed by date, but there are no hyphens or there are no spaces. The format is slightly different, so we have to give exactly the same format. So it is percentage uppercase y, which means we are giving the year in this lengthy format, then percentage m, percentage t, and that should be within quotes. It has to be given in quotes. Then Python will understand, okay, I'm getting year in 4 letters, I'm getting month in 2 digits, I'm getting date in 2 digits. Then this date cleaned, which is a new variable, that will be definitely in the date time format. So if I write this one dot info, now I'm pretty sure that will be date time format. Now there is some issue. Let us see what is the issue. This date time variable should not be given. Info is a method that can be applied on the pandas data frame. You have the last variable, which is date time cleaned. It is in date time format. Date time some format that they have given. There is an internal name in Python, but we are sure that this is the date time format. It is not a string object anymore. You cannot give hyphens here. If you give hyphens, we're trying to tell that there are hyphens within the dates. It will throw an error for sure because there are no hyphens. It did not match the input text criteria. We have given input text differently and we are giving the hyphens differently. So this will work if you are giving without hyphens. Then you can derive month, you can derive day, you can derive year, whatever you want to derive, because once it is in date time format, then everything else will be very, very easy. So what you need to do is you just need, let's say if you want to derive the month, here is the, so let us derive the name of the variable itself is month. So what I'll do is I'll take this date cleaned variable, date cleaned, first go to KC house price, take date cleaned, apply lambda x, and x is in date time format. So if x is in date time format, how do you extract month out of it? You simply write x dot month, then you will get the month. So you can actually see the values of the month, some sample values. Here you go, month. How do you extract year? How do you extract year? You simply write year, and then from this date I want to extract year, then I'll simply write year. That's simple. Year. How do you extract date? Since it is date time format, you can extract date as well, or day of the month. Let's call that as day of the month because date itself is a variable name. Day of the month, you simply write day. Here you go, days. Day 13, 14, 15. In fact, since it is in date time format, there are some values that you can extract that is not even there in the data. Let's say if you want to extract weekday, then you can use a function called weekday on top of the date function. Then it will give you that weekday. So let us give weekday. From the date cleaned, you simply write weekday and then you will get the output. Here you go. 0 probably means Sunday. We can actually see, in fact, in this weekday function, if you look deep into it, you will be able to give which day you want to call it as a particular start day of the week. Okay, if you go to this weekday function, hold your control, button. Then in this weekday, if you try to see what this particular function is saying, if we read the documentation, then we will be able to see actually what should be the start day of the weekday, whether we want Sunday to be start day or whether we want Monday to be start day. That also can be mentioned by us. As of now, it is giving the weekdays. You can explore more into that weekday option as well. Okay. Now that is how you convert strings into dates. What if you want to do the opposite of it? What if you have a date variable with you? You want to extract some strings out of it. You have a date variable, you want to create the month name. You have a date variable, you have to create the weekday name. You want to print it as Sunday. What if you want the year in a particular format? So earlier we have used strp time. Earlier we have used strp time for converting strings into dates. What if you want to do the opposite of it? What if you want to convert dates into some particular format strings? Then you have to use strf time. Let us use strf time now. So here is the usage of strf time. Right now we have date cleaned variable. We want to do a similar operation, but this time I want to extract a string name. I want to have month underscore name. I want to have a full month name to be printed. If that is the case, I will take date cleaned. This is the date variable. And from here, I will use x dot strf time. We are actually, what does strf time do? From the date, it will get you the month. So if you want month in a elaborated manner, if you want the complete month name, you have to put percentage %b. I'm going to give you all these symbols, like we can create a list of these symbols, like what exactly means what. We'll be able to refer to that. So as of now, if you put percentage %b, you will get the month name like this. Complete month name will be printed for you: October, June, September, and so on. In fact, you can also print the weekday name by using a similar code. You can say my weekday name. Now that weekday is a string. Weekday name is a string. How do you extract a string from a date strf time? For the weekday name, you have to use a symbol called percentage %a. Then you have weekday name. Which day is it? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Thursday, all those things. What if you want year in a particular format? Like earlier, if you're directly taking year, it was coming as 2014, 2015. What if you want only two letters in an year, like year in YY format? That's what you want. Let's say, let's call this a short year. What if you want short year? Again, you use strf time, and you can use percentage lowercase y. That will give you year in two decimals, 2014, 2015, like that. So these are some of the important symbols. If you say percentage %d, that is day of month, that will be from 1 to 31. If you say percentage %m, that will be month, it will be. So here are some of the symbols that you may find useful. I have listed some of them. In fact, you can see the documentation based on the need. The other symbols also you can use percentage %d, that represents the day of month. Percentage lowercase m, that is the month number. Percentage lowercase b, that is the first three characters like Jan. And full month is percentage %b. Now these are the symbols for month. For year, these are the symbols. For weekday, this is the weekday number 0 to 6. Sunday begins with 0. And percentage %a, weekday, full string, that will give. And there are other symbols as well beyond this. These are the most widely used ones. If you want to print in a particular format, then you can refer to other symbols related to these dates. So these are some of the functions that are there in dates: strf time, strp time. These are the ones that are very useful. Let us quickly recap these by using a quick lab session. What you need to do is you have to import Roseman store sales data. There is a column called, in fact, that Roseman store sales data, we have already imported that in our code. Have you seen that? Roseman store sales data. Let's put a title here. Let's call them as data sets. Okay. Now here in Roseman store sales data, you definitely have a column called date. Okay. So convert the date, which is actually a string format, which is in string format. You are supposed to convert it into date time format and derive these new columns. You have to convert it into month, and the month in the digits like 0, 1, that format. You have to convert it into year, and then a day of the year, day of the year. I'm not talking about the day of the month. Day of the month varies from 1 to 31. But day of the year varies from 0 to 365 or 0 to 364, whatever it is, day of the year. And then month, full name, it has to be complete, August, something like that. And then week of the year. I'm not talking about exact weekday or anything, week of the year, which is varying from 0 to 52. So how do you extract these? We haven't discussed this, but I request you to actually do some reading on the internet, do some searching, and try to quickly complete this lab exercise before we move on to the next subtopic. Let us see how to work with datetime functions. For this, we have to work with a datetime variable. So Nifty stock data has a datetime variable, Nifty stock price. If you look at the info of this particular data frame, you will have a variable which is a date time, because the stock price changes minute by minute. So it not only contains date, it contains a date time as well. If you want to have a quick look at the sample of this data, you can actually look at some of the records. So this is a variable, the exact date as well as the time is also given to us. And this is in a particular format. This Nifty is an Indian stock exchange. That is why we have time plus the GMT. Okay. So overall time is also given to us. So this is the format our data is in: open price, high, low, close, adjusted close, and the volume that traded in that at that particular, it is at a 15 minutes time frame. For every 15 minutes, we are getting these values. Now let us work with date time values, and let us try to see how to work with actual date time and some of the functions that are related to it. Okay. So what we'll try to do is we will try to first extract only this part. We are not interested in this plus 530. That is not required. So we will try to take only the date time part of it. Okay. So how do you extract everything before plus? Actually, you can count the number of digits and you can write it from 0 to this particular, like 8 plus, these are like 8 plus 2 10 plus 1 11, and then another 6 plus 2 8 are there. So you can write down all those 19 digits from 0 to 19. But there is another way to do it. You can use split option as well. So let me show you how to use a split option in this example. So you write down Nifty stock price. So as of now, the variable name is date time. Let me create a new variable, date time 1. Nifty stock price, date time 1. Date time 1 equal to, then you write Nifty stock price, date time dot apply lambda 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 x, every row I want to go colon. Until here syntax is same. Then you write x dot split. Split by what? What's the symbol that you want to split on? Is it the colon? Is it the space? What do you want to split on? You want to split on the symbol plus. And after splitting, you will have two values. You will have index 0, which is the first value, and you will have plus 530. And out of those two, whatever you want, extract that. I want to extract the first portion, because after splitting, you will have two values. And out of those two, I want to extract the first portion. So if you see the answer to this, okay, so it will be looking somewhat like this. The output will look like this. We have extracted everything apart from that plus 530. Now we have to further clean it, because this is still a string only. So if you go to Nifty stock price, it will be still a string object. We have to convert this string into date time. Right now, this is date time is an object, date time 1 is also an object. Now try to recollect what is the function that will convert your string into date time. String into date. Which function converts string into date? Try to recollect it. So you write date time cleaned. I will write as usual. I have to write Nifty stock price. I will go to date time variable, Nifty stock price date time, right? Dot apply lambda lambda x. Now what is the function that will convert date time, the convert string into date time? The function name is strp time, isn't it? Strp time converts string into dates. So you write date time, that is the subpackage date time dot strp time, strp time. And which format are you giving me? I'm giving you in a very lengthy format. It is uppercase percentage y, this is lowercase percentage m, and then percentage d, small d, and there is a space. After that, I'm giving you hour followed by minute followed by second. So all that input format need to be given. So strp time in X is the input, and it is all that format. What is it? Percentage Y, because it is y, and then percentage M, then percentage D, hyphens are also there, and then there's a space, then percentage uppercase H. Now these are the time function related ones. Percentage M, percentage S. Now it has to be given exactly in this format. Between the dates, there are hyphens. Between the time values, there are colons. We have to give in exactly the same format. Carefully, if you give that, then this will definitely work. You can actually have a look at the output. How does that look like? Let us see. Here you go. Datetime clean looks like this. Datetime cleaned looks like as it is as the datetime one. But what's the difference? The difference is it is now the data type is a date time. Earlier the data type used to be object. Now the data type is date time. That's the difference. Once you have date time, you can use it for multiple purposes. You can extract so many things out of it. You can extract year, you can extract month, you can extract date, you can extract particularly time also if you are interested only in a time out of that date time. So what you can do is you take this date time cleaned variable dot apply lambda x from here. How do you extract only time from a date time variable? That is easy. Once everything is in date time, you simply write down x dot time. You simply extract time out of it. Then it will give you only the time portion of that date time. Because once a variable is in date time format, all that you need to do is you write the variable name dot time. Why it's not working? Let us see what is the syntax error that we have made. So this is the date time cleaned. Let me give that. So it's unmatched this one, which means that one extra parenthesis looks like we have given, and everything else is fine. Look at this. You have the time extracted. What if you want to extract only hour out of it, out of this full time? I'm not interested in the full time. What if I'm interested only in the hour? Which hour that is in? So you can write hour, and then instead of full time, I would like to say from the date time, which has date and time, I would like to extract x dot hour, x dot hour, and then extra parenthesis. Unmatched this one. Let us see, are we missing anything? There is an extra this one. Okay, this is the hour. Here, time is a method. That's why parentheses are required. Hour is a property. That's why we have to give like this. What is a method? What is a property? Once we see object-oriented programming rules, then we will get to know that. As of now, you understand that for some of the functions, you have to give parentheses because they are methods. For some of the values, you cannot give parentheses because they are properties. Just treat that as syntax. How do you get the minute? In the place of this, you write minute. Minute. You can extract a minute out of that if you want to, because earlier we have already seen how to extract months, dates from date time. Here we are from time, we are experimenting more on time here. You can extract the exact minute. This is 15-minute wise data. The values at 15th minute, 30th minute, 45th minute, again the values at the end of the hour. That's what you, in fact, if you are interested in second by second data, if you have second wise data, you can actually extract the second as well, particular second. This may not make sense in the stock price data, but that provision is also there if you want to use it. But here we are not going to the seconds granularity. We are stopping at uh, minutes granularity only. That's why second is showing as 0 for everything. It worked, but the data doesn't contain any values. So that is how you can extract it. In fact, there is another way also. You can use, like, if you have already date time, we have already discussed a function. What is it? If you have date time, from that, if you want to extract strings, if you want to extract some values from date, if you want to come to strings, you can use strf time. So if you want to do a little differently here, if you want to extract hour, instead of using this, you can use x dot strf time instead of that ready-made function hour. And you mentioned the format. What's the format? I want it in the format of percentage h. Then that hour will be printed to you. This is the hour. This is another alternative way of printing it. If you want to print the minute, then you can print percentage m. So let me do it here itself. Percentage m instead of hour, minute, minute. There you go. Percentage uppercase m, minute. Then you have percentage s for second. Second doesn't make sense here, but that is also possible here. Look at that. So you can use either strf time, or you can use direct ready-made functions and the properties directly as well. Now that is about working with time. Now what about time delta? What do you mean by time delta? The duration. Time delta is also a little complex. You cannot simply count the difference between two dates, because sometimes some months have 30 days, some months have 31 days, some months have, let's say if you have 4 months, you cannot simply say that like you have 31st of August and you have 31st of December. You cannot simply take 4 months, 4 into 30, 120. It may not be always 120 days. It can be different as well, isn't it? Because some months have different. February has only 28 days. So time delta, instead of we directly multiplying with 30 days, we have to use time delta functions that are available so that we can get accurate results. So let us work on some of the time delta functions. So as of now, we have this variable date cleaned. Okay, let us look at that and work with time delta functions. So this is the data. You have this data, and then let us work with time delta related to this. Let us suppose if you have, like in my data set, what I want to know is what is the duration, what is the minimum date, what is the maximum date, and how much data has been collected, how many days data. This is stock price data, I agree. But what is the first date? Is it from 1st Jan 2019 to 1st Jan 2020? Is it 360 days data? Is it 30 days data? Is it 40 days data? Is it 80 days data? How do I know that? So let me take the min date or the start date. Minimum date is this one dot min, that is the minimum date. And what is that minimum date? That also we can see the min date. Similarly, I'll calculate the max date. So minimum date is 2021 02 8 August, or 02 is February 8th, and the max date, this is the max. And from February 8th to the May 7th, that's the data that we have collected from February 8th to May 7th. How many days are there? If you want to know that time delta, it's not as easy as February to May. You simply do it. There is a particular function that we have to use for calculating the time deltas. Let us understand how does this time delta work. So the duration in days, if you want to get the duration in days particularly, then you write the duration or whatever is the name of the variable. So you simply write down your highest value of the age max date minus min underscore date. Max date minus min date is the duration. Okay. So here is the duration. 88 days. It is also giving the hours. Okay. So time delta, it is actually a different type of variable altogether. It is giving its time delta of 88 days. Okay. If you want to know exact duration in hours, like 88 days 6 hours it is. Okay, if you want to know the duration in hours, then if you want to convert all these 88 days, 88 into 24 plus 6 hours, if you want to know exact hours as well, then what you can do is using this time delta, you can convert it. So you have to import a new package from date time, import. There is another sub package called time delta. Here you go, time delta. Time zone is also there, time delta. So what you need to do is you simply take duration, and the symbol is slash duration divided by time delta. Time delta is a function, and whatever is the delta that you want to measure this in days, or you want to measure this in hours or minutes, whatever you want to do it, you can mention. So my one unit is 1 hour. Okay, so the number of units has to be hours. So hours equal to 1. So basically here I want to say I want to measure not in days, I want to measure it in hours. Then it will print you in hours. So those 88 days 6 hours is converted to this. What if one unit is not 1 hour, it is actually 1 minute? Then you say minut, minute equal to 1. That is 1 unit equal to 1 minute. Okay. You have to write minutes. That's the syntax. Hours, minutes. These are the minutes. So time delta, you can convert it to hour. Like if required, you can do it. But most of the times I have seen people using it directly. This is the one which is your duration in hours or minutes or the days. Days is anyway directly given. You can convert it to hours or minutes using this option. So that is how you can work with time delta. So that's how you can work with dates and the date functions and the time functions. It's now time for us to do a quick lab exercise on date time functions we are exploring. Take the dataset New York taxi fare data, look at the column names, you'll be able to easily understand that. It is a simple taxi fare data where pickup time is given, drop time is given, pickup location is given, drop location is given. This is a simple taxi fare data. What is the fare of that particular ride? Now create a date time variable based on the pickup time. Pickup time is actually a string. How do you convert a string into date time? String to date time. What is the option? What function is used? Okay. Then extract hour, minute, and second values. So hours and minutes, when you're doing analysis of this, when you're creating a dashboard on the taxi fares and what time they are picked, maybe these hours and minutes are also important. And identify which hour is the peak hour with the maximum number of trips. After you identify the hour, you may have to do value counts. After doing the value counts, then you will get to know which hour is the peak hour. Maybe during that peak hour, we make sure that most of the taxis are available. Maybe we can increase the fare in that peak hour. Exactly how many months data is available in the data set. So exactly how many months data is available. So you try to find out what is the minimum and what is the maximum, and then convert that duration comes in days. Now that days earlier we have converted into hours, minutes, but here I want to convert the duration into months. Now that's not directly possible using the function that we have used. You may have to use a different function, but tell me how many months data is available. Let's say 90 days is actually like 3 months. You can say like that in simple words. So how many months data is available? Give me the interval in months. That's the requirement. So complete this exercise before we move on to the next topic. I'll see you on the other side.
Continue with the next video in the playlist. We are covering everything step by step. If you have any questions or the comments, please post them in the comments window below.